What's going on, guys? We are back with the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and I'm glad to be here with my favorite guys in the whole wide world. Got my guy, Jack Grow, right here. How you doing, Jack?
I'm good, Jerome. It's nice to see you again, as always.
Appreciate it. And Mr. Ray Roberts, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. Guys, we are weeks away from the NFL draft. I think we're 3 weeks away now. 3 weeks?
3 weeks from yesterday.
It's coming fast. It's coming super fast, and we're so excited about it. And we're going to talk a little bit about it today. We're going to talk linebackers today. So we talked about the whole offensive side of the ball. We talked a little bit of the defensive edge 2 weeks ago. Last week we had our mock draft, which if you missed it, go back, check that out. But everybody that's in here right now, first and foremost, we thank all our viewers right now. If you come in from YouTube, if you coming from Facebook, if you come from Twitter, we thank you guys so much. While we're doing our evaluations of our positions, please make sure that you come in and put your comments in. We love to put your comments on here, comment on here. We like to be interactive. So while you're going in here, put your comment in, and we'll be glad to answer those for you while we're going. But especially if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please smash that like button, put that share button on there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please do that. That supports us so much, and we appreciate everybody that does that. But let's get right into where we came in to do it, which is talk about this NFL draft. And we're going to talk about some linebackers. I'm very excited because we got some good linebackers in here. So I want to hear what you guys think. We're going to start right off the bat and talk about the top 5 linebackers in this draft. And I want to know, starting with you, Jack, I want to know who's your top 5 linebackers in this NFL draft.
All right, so top 5 linebackers. I really like this linebacker class, just also saying that, prefacing that. So the guy who is number 5 still is also going to be very good, at least in my opinion. Number 1, Micah Parsons. I think that's kind of above and away, kind of obvious, especially with those freak numbers that he tested at his pro day. The potential's there. I think everyone likes that guy. Second for me is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I like him just as a versatility pick. I think someone the back half of the first round is going to fall in love with that. And kind of a defensive coordinator is just going to be pounding the table, wanting to draft that guy. Jamin Davis from Kentucky. He's my third ranked linebacker. Very athletic, very blitz heavy. They played in Kentucky, and I think he did very well during that. Baron Browning, kind of a surprise there. He's my 4th overall linebacker. Jerome and I luckily got to see him at the Senior Bowl, and it's crazy. I mean, the guy is, I think he's like 6'3" and weighs like 240 and can fly from sideline to sideline like nothing I've ever seen before. It's ridiculous, and that potential is just crazy. And then Nick Bolton, the linebacker out of Missouri, he's going to be my 5th linebacker in the top 5.
Nice. I'm glad to see that you got the Kentucky linebackers. He's been climbing up the ranks the last couple of drafts, and I've been seeing his name. Ray, I want to see if you got him in your top 5 as well. Who you got on your list?
I do not have him in my top 5. I have him as one of my sleepers, but I don't have him in my top 5. I have Micah Parsons, like Jack said, like pretty much. I think with him, his versatility is that he can play any linebacker spot. He can rush the quarterback. He could drop in coverage a little bit, probably not against wide receivers, obviously, but he can do some things in coverage. I have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. The difference between him and Parsons, I think that Parsons probably can do some stuff as a pass rusher, where Owusu-Koramoah is going to be able to be a guy who can cover just about any position on the field. So, my number 3 is Nick Bolton. Another guy is versatile, more like an inside linebacker, but a very good athlete and a good football player. Number 4, I have Zaven Collins from Tulsa. Love Zaven Collins. Love his versatility. I think he'll play as an outside linebacker or an edge type of a guy. But I can see you can move him inside and let him play some middle linebacker for you too. And number 5, I have Jabril Cox from LSU.
I'm personally high on Jabril Cox. I got to see him, watch him at North Carolina State, and then going to LSU last year. So that was very intriguing for me to see somebody go from a powerhouse program in the FBS to go to LSU. So I was very intrigued in watching him this year. So he's one of the guys that I kept close eye on. But I want to know from both of you guys. There have been some rumblings. Some people think that the linebacker from Notre Dame. Sorry, the linebacker from Notre Dame. Some people are actually putting him at safety. They call him JOK. Ray, you got very close ties to seeing him as a linebacker in your program. What do you think about him playing at the safety position, or you think he's best at linebacker?
I think that you could play him against certain wide receivers. I think that if you play him against more physical guys, he's probably going to struggle against them. I like Owusu-Koramoah. My only problem against him is I don't know if I would say that he's going to be an elite, like a pass rusher type of a guy. I think that he can do some things on the back end. He can play, obviously, cover tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. Probably could play some slot against some wide receivers. I don't know. I think, again, if you try to put him at pigeonhole him at safety, you're not using him to his best asset. So I think, again, like we talked about the tight end, you want to get the coverage. You want him to cover the guy you want him to cover. If you try to put him in the slot against wide receivers, he may struggle there, especially against a big, more physical guy. So,
Jack, what do you think about that? Because Joke been looked at as a smaller linebacker, so and he might work in today's linebacker. How everybody's kind of playing the pass now. What do you think about that transition from linebacker to safety, or keep him at linebacker?
I think he can play a linebacker, definitely. I mean, Deion Jones, he plays for the Falcons. I think max he plays at 218, maybe 220, I want to say. I mean, there are smaller linebackers that exist in the NFL. I mean, they're not going to be your strong Brian Urlacher types,
Yeah.
But there aren't many of those around anymore. So I think he can definitely play linebacker. He's going to have to play off ball. I think he's going to have to play weak side. But I mean, the versatility that he brings to you, if you just, like Ray said, if you just pigeonhole him at safety, you're missing out on 3/4 of what this guy can bring you. I mean, he can play edge rusher, he can play weak side linebacker, he can play slot corner, and he can play safety. So allow him to do all of those things, and I think he can be a really successful NFL player.
I think if you play him like as an outside linebacker, and you say you're one of these teams that want to play like a 4-2-5, and then you're really using his versatility as best, because you can play him as a safety, or you can play like you can bring him up and let him play linebacker for you, and he can do a lot of different things for you. Again, if you try to just pigeonhole him in one aspect of the game, you're not taking advantage of how good he is. So,
I think it's a really this is going to be kind of a niche example for all my Saints fans out there, but Sidney Gardner-Johnson, the way the Saints use him is he's pretty much the nickel linebacker. So he'll cover tight ends, he'll cover receivers, he'll drop in coverage, but he'll also have a run fit responsibility because we play that 4-2-5 and he's the fifth guy. And I think Owusu-Koramoah can play that as that very good in-between player because he has the coverage skills and the run fit skills.
Definitely. I think that he'll definitely thrive in a 4-2-5 defense. I think that will definitely help him a lot. But let's go to our next topic, will be our sleepers. So we got the top 5 linebackers. We're gonna go to top 5 sleeper linebackers. These are linebackers that people don't think about too much. They not perceived as maybe first round picks. Don't get a lot of buzz. I want to know who's in that list. So Ray, let's get to your list. You start.
Well, number 1, I have Pete Werner from Ohio State. Another guy who's versatile. I mean, people will say, like, some people will say to me, like, well, why would you use an Ohio State guy as a sleeper? Because I think he can be as good as, in the end, he could be maybe as good as one of these guys I have in the top 5. So there, I think he's a little bit, and he's a versatile player. I think that's why I have him as a sleeper. I think he could be one of the best linebackers in football in a couple of years. And right now, some people have him like as a 3rd or 4th round pick. So we'll see. Number 2, I have Jamin Davis from Kentucky. Again, I think, like Jack said, I think he's a very versatile type guy. I think he can do a lot of different things for you. I just think that, again, he's a guy from a smaller school. So, Number 3, I have Chaz Surratt from North Carolina. Again, a very versatile type player, a guy who plays a lot of the off-ball linebacker, which is probably what he's best at. Should be used for. But again, I think that he's only like 230. He's not a big guy, but you can do a lot of different things with him. Number 4, I have Cameron McGrone. You're a guy from Michigan. Good football player, special teams stud, a guy you can bring in and let him play for you on special teams, and they kind of find a spot for him as your linebacker crew. And then number 5, I have Charles Snowden from Virginia. Another guy who's like 6'6", 230, very versatile type of a guy. I like Charles Snowden a lot, so that's my 5 sleepers. So.
Yeah, Charles Snowden was another player that I kept an eye on this year. I think that he's a good player. A lot of people don't talk about him too much. But I do want to talk about Chaz Surratt. Fun fact, if you don't already know, Chaz Surratt has a brother who played at Wake Forest as a wide receiver. So he got a brother that's in the draft. And also, Chaz Surratt actually played quarterback coming out of high school and then got converted to a linebacker when he went to UNC. So that's a very interesting thing. Another reason why he's not on people's list too high because he didn't play too much linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
But he is definitely a sleeper linebacker in my opinion. Jack, who you got on your list?
So my list, I just realized, is very SEC and Big Ten heavy. So sorry to all my Pac-12 fans out there. But that conference doesn't exist in my mind, so it doesn't matter. Produce a good team, and then we'll talk. Number 1 on my sleeper linebacker list is Cameron McGrone. Injuries have really plagued this guy. He's a Michigan player. If you go back and put on that 2018 tape, I mean, the guy's ridiculous. I mean, he was hurt in 2019, and then 2020, I want to say he opted out or something happened this year. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what happened. But I know he didn't play much this year.
Listen, 2020 for Michigan fans is a wash. That season didn't happen. So
2020 in general is a wash for I think everyone in the world. So we're just gonna chuck it up and be like it didn't happen.
There you go.
So Cameron McGrone, definitely my number 1 guy. I mean, in 2018, I think people were talking about him in this draft being a freak and just being like, how is this guy not going to get drafted in the first round and blah 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 blah. I mean, I like him a lot. The other Big Ten guy I have is Patty Fisher. Definitely more of your classic Mike linebacker type. I like him a lot, mainly based on the name. It's a fantastic name. I mean, you have to be playing. If you were named Patty and you don't play linebacker in football, I don't think it works. Like, you can't be a wide receiver with the name Patty. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't know. That probably is terrible scouting, but I don't care. Now we're going to the SEC list. Buddy Johnson, Texas A&M. This guy I've been getting a lot of hype on Twitter. I decided to check him out. I haven't been able to fully watch his tape, but from what I see, I like it a lot. I didn't watch much Texas A&M defense, so I'm new to the train. 2 guys I've been pretty high on for a long time. Monty Rice out of Georgia. He's another standard Mike linebacker type player. Fantastic leader of that defense. If you watch them call out plays on defense, he's the guy that's calling out the plays on defense. Very smart, obviously knows what he's doing, and the TFL numbers speak for themselves there. And then KJ Britt, another Senior Bowl guy that Jerome and I got to watch, made a couple of fantastic plays in the actual game, and I am very happy to see where he goes in the next level.
Definitely. KJ Britt is a guy that I like myself. We actually got a chance to talk to him. So if you haven't checked out InsideTheHatches.com or us on Spotify, go check that out. Got his interview on there, so check that out. The reason why me and Ray was laughing because you mentioned Patty Fisher, and Patty Fisher is one of my sleeper linebackers for this year. I talked about him a lot, and he is my equivalent to Logan Wilson from last year, and Ray hates that idea. He hated when I said it last year with Logan Wilson. When I talked about Patty Fisher, so when you said Patty Fisher, Ray, the look that Ray gave me was very funny. Ray,
I'm sorry, man. I don't like linebackers that I got to tie with an hourglass. Okay, dude.
like an athletic linebacker.
Jack, the first thing you're going to realize about Jerome is the only cornerback that I've ever seen that likes slow linebackers.
Listen,
Here's the thing. He's not the fastest, but it's just like it's
4.9 140.
Okay.
Listen, but some linebackers don't need to be fast. They just need to be instinctual, and you know.
You said it right.
That's what I like about him.
When you said fat, you're right.
When I look, I'm a Pac-10. I mean, I'm a Big Ten guy, obviously, because you know Michigan, and watching Michigan games and playing against these teams. When I see Patty Fisher destroying our offense all the time and disrupting plays on our offense, like it makes me notice that those guys. So you know, Patty Fisher was one of them. Last year it was Logan Wilson. Ray didn't think Logan Wilson was going to go high last year. He went in the second round. I don't think Pat Fisher is a second round guy, but he's one of those guys that you know he could be a serviceable linebacker in this league. So
I think he's really good depth. Honestly, I mean there are teams that need linebacker depth, and I think he fills it. He's a really good run stopping linebacker. Now, granted, Ray, I agree with you. He has his limitations. Okay. But so does every player in the draft. He just has more than the top guys, right? Like, and yes, he runs a 4.9 140. I get it. Don't make him cover people then. Put him in rundowns. Put him in run packages. Like
4.9 140, 30-inch arms. What are you going to do with him?
Their arms don't matter with linebackers.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, like, as long as he doesn't have T-Rex arms, I'm okay with it.
So you're going to bring him in. You're hoping he can be a 2-down linebacker at best, right? Because that's it.
Yes, like I said, he's dead. Okay, and also, when you're drafting 4 through 7, that's all hope, and then you just don't admit that 1 through 3 is also hope. I mean, no one knows these guys are going to pan out.
I root for all these guys, and Patty Fisher is a great effort type of a player. He is, and I'll give him all of that. But I can't have a guy out there that can't cover anybody.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I understand it. And that's why he's going to be a day 3 pick, right? I mean, he has tackle numbers because no one in the Big Ten except for Ohio State can figure out how to throw. So
there's going to be guys that you can put in your defense that, you know, you don't expect them to be the best players, but then they're serviceable in your defense, and you can cover up for their miscues. You look at Alex Singletary. He's going to be the starting linebacker for the Eagles. Not granted that the Eagles don't have great linebackers, and we'll get to that later. But you know, he's a serviceable linebacker. He can't cover, but he could help out in the rundowns. He helps out with, like, you know. So he's going to be our starting linebacker, but he's not a terrible linebacker because he's, you know, limited to not being able to cover also. So I just have how I see it.
No, I understand where Ray's coming from 110%, right?
I do
too. Like my team, the Saints, like we only draft and play coverage linebackers. Mm-hmm. We do not have a run stopping linebacker. Demario Davis, Quan Alexander this year before we decided to let him go. None of those. They were supposed to cover and blitz. That was it, you know?
When we talk about how fullback is a dying breed, a 2-down linebacker that can't cover anybody is dead in today's NFL.
I think in certain defenses it can work, and the problem is you can't use a big time draft pick on them. They're like the Lance Briggs and Brian Urlachers of the world don't exist anymore. And
Brian Urlacher ran a 4.5 40 though.
That's true, but like
that size.
Yeah, I mean like the big buff, giant, massive linebackers that are stone walls. That's what I mean.
I mean, he makes Zach Thomas look like Jerry Rice.
That is true.
I mean,
this is also just a random qualm. I hate the 40 time, just personally, because name me a time, except for when you're chasing a guy down the field, like DK Metcalf, Buda Baker kind of thing, like when you're going to be running 40 yards in a straight line. I mean, if he plays linebacker, his job is to run 20 yards maximum. And if he gets beat by 20 yards, he doesn't have a chance.
Correct.
That's just my thing with the 40 time in general. But
I think the 40 time just matters in certain aspects. Like wide receiver, 40 time definitely matters. Cornerbacks definitely matter.
Safety.
Safety don't really matter because they're already back already. If they take the great
True.
angles and get back there, safety don't matter as much.
Running back,
But
I guess.
other than that, speed don't matter too much. It's all about like taking great angles, being able to use your quickness. I think quickness matters more in NFL than speed. People don't understand the difference between quickness and speed. Quickness is like how quick you can get out of position or how quick you can move in tight spaces rather than straight line speed. So I think that matters. But with that being said, we're going to talk about our small school guys as well. So these are guys that, not in the big schools that, the big schools that everybody's talking about, the Power 5 schools. They're guys that are in small schools that can potentially get on an NFL roster in the later back end of the rounds or maybe even undrafted, but able to contribute on a team. Jack, you go first. You got the top 5 linebackers.
Gotcha. All right. Number 1, going to be another Senior Bowl guy. This is a very large theme with me, with a lot of players because I've seen them in person. Riley Cole out of South Alabama. I want to say he had like 8 tackles or something like that in the game.
A lot of tackles, yeah.
He had a ton, and he was flying around the ball. He was doing really well. I like him personally just kind of as a pretty good 3-down linebacker, very good late-round pick, and if it works out and you hit and he fits in your defense, boom, done. Garrett Wallow out of TCU is another guy that I like out of smaller school. Another Senior Bowl guy coming up. Grant Stewart, Houston. Very, very high character guy from what I've heard just from everybody, especially Jim Nagy. He's been raving about this guy for a while. He also has a very funny YouTube channel if you want to check it out. He details his whole process. It's very interesting. Cool. 4th small school guy, a guy we've actually interviewed, if I'm not mistaken, Tavante Beckett out of Marshall.
Yes.
He was a very good player as well. Kind of a smaller linebacker. People have been talking about the safety thing. We'll see. And then the last small school linebacker, which isn't a small school linebacker, I just wanted to say his name again to annoy Ray, Patty Fisher.
Just to trigger Ray.
Yeah.
Tavante Beckett, another guy that we interviewed, very another good character kid. Talk to him very often. He's a good guy. He very passionate with the game of football. Please listen to his interview on our podcast platforms and our website as well. Ray, let me hear your top 5 linebackers.
Okay, well, I have Zaven Collins, obviously from Tulsa, one of my top 5 guys. So obviously he's going to be my top guy as far as small school guys. And Riley Cole from South Alabama, like Jack said, very good football player. Probably will get drafted a little bit later because he went to a small school, but I could see him being a 3-down linebacker and helping somebody out pretty quickly, actually. 3rd guy is Patrick Johnson from Tulane. Another guy is athletic, a 6'6", 240 guy, so he has to fill out a little bit, but a good football player. Number 4, I have Grant Stewart from Houston, another athletic kid, 5'11", 230, good football player. Then I have 2 for 5. I have Chris Garrett from Concordia and Malcolm Kuntz from Buffalo, who will probably be a perfect scenario. Would be he goes to a 3-4 and they let him be that edge guy in perfect case scenario. But I like this linebacker class. I really do. And I mean, I kid about Patty Fisher. If Patty Fisher goes to a team, it could be like an inside linebacker with a guy who's very athletic and play in a 3-4. He can survive in that kind of a front. So
I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, definitely agree with that. Right, you got some great linebackers. I like the Johnson kid from was it Tulane?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. He's a good one.
He's huge.
Yeah, he is 6'6", 240. So he's long. He's athletic. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly. I think he actually ran like a 4'5", 4'6", 40. So he's very athletic. I mean, I
say 4'6".
Okay.
Yeah, definitely him. And Malcolm Kuntz, another small guy from Buffalo. He played on that Buffalo team. That Buffalo team played very well this year. A guy that had on that team was Jared Passon, and he kind of rolled from their offense. And people mostly know them from their offense, but their defense was pretty good too. They got a couple of guys on there that we interviewed as well. So I think Kuntz is definitely a player that can do well in an NFL team that might pick them up in the late rounds. All right. Well, with that being said, we got through all our lists. Let's get to my favorite part, which is the best fit game. And you guys, if you haven't checked this out before and don't know what this game is, this is basically any team that needs a linebacker. I'll be throwing it out to one of these guys, and they're going to tell me what player is the best fit for that team. So we're going to go right into it, and we're going to start off with the Broncos. Jack, you're going to start us off with the Broncos.
I guess I'll do it with our first round pick, the 9th overall pick. I would go Micah Parsons here. He kind of fits that Vic Fangio very dominant offense. He needs a very rangy linebacker like they had in Cleveland with Roquan, or not Cleveland, sorry, Chicago with Roquan Smith. It would surprise me if they took a linebacker at 9, but if they were going to take one, I think it would be Parsons.
Can you imagine having that defense where you got Justin Simmons, Michael Parsons, you got Von Miller, you got Bradley Chubb, you just got the outside guys, what's his name? Kyle Fuller, and Ronald Darby, who I'm not high on, being an Eagles fan. But that defense would look really, really crazy if you got Michael Parsons to be in the middle of that. Right? What do you think about the Broncos?
I agree. I think because I think they're going to play a 3-4. I think Wusikora could fit in there really nicely. I think even a Malcolm Kuntz, if you drafted him later on, could really help you out in that defense. So
definitely. All right, let's get to our next. Good.
Yeah. No, I like versatile guys. That's why I hate it when teams try to pigeonhole this guy should fit here and this guy should fit there. To me, the better the athlete, the more defenses he can play in. So,
I agree. All right, let's get to our next team. Ray, you're going to give us the Browns.
The Browns, I'm going to go Pete Werner. I think, again, you play him inside in their defense, the way they play defense in Cleveland, an Ohio kid. I think that would be a perfect spot for him.
Jack, what do you think?
I'm going to go with another Ohio State linebacker. I'm going to go Baron Browning here. The Browns are a very analytically driven front office. Baron Browning kind of checks off all the analytical stats that you want to go for there. I don't know if they have the player tracking data yet, like on the field. I don't know if the schools are giving that out yet. But if they do, they're going to realize that he's very fast and very good at what he does. So
he had a lot of missed tackles this year, though.
That is true. And I think with a bunch of – it's weird because some of those missed tackles are him just taking bad angles, and then some of those missed tackles are him outrunning people because he's so fast he ends up getting there too quick, which is a good problem to have, I think.
It is, but you need to understand that you got to take guys from the shoulder. You can't just arm tackle guys in the NFL. So
yeah, and that's the bad angle problem. He gets there either too fast, too early, or too late, and then he's got arms flailing around.
Right. A lot of it was that, like you said, he over pursued a little bit. He cleans that up a little bit. He's a good enough athlete where he could be a good football player.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. We got first chat, and that is Johnny Dean. He said, "What's up, guys?" What's up, Johnny, man? We appreciate you getting on. You always been consistent with us on our podcast, so we do appreciate you being in. Let's get to our next team. We got the Arizona Cardinals. Jack, you're going to start us off with that. Who would be the best fit for them?
Oh, this is hard. This is tough. Oh no. They have some pretty good linebackers there. I don't want to replace any of them. You put me on the spot here. I've never stuttered doing this game before. You broke my brain, man. Because I could give everybody Owusu Koromoa. I mean, that would be easy, but I want to make it a little fun because they're not going to pick him.
Yeah, I mean, if you go Parsons and Owusu Koromoa, you could go with any team basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
defense.
Exactly, right. But that's no fun.
Right.
They do need a good inside linebacker.
Can I give you one, Jerome?
Yes, right. Please help me.
I'll give you Cameron McGrone from Michigan. I think again.
I was thinking that.
A guy
I was
who's
actually
very
thinking
versatile.
that.
You put him in a 3-4 as another inside linebacker. This kid can pursue. He can get after the running game. He can do some things. He's a solid enough athlete where he can turn and run. I mean, the thing like Jerome was saying earlier about how certain like one linebacker hurt Michigan's offense. A strong win hurt Michigan's offense this year, man. Sorry.
That's true. That's true. No, I think McGrone's actually a really good fit there. Like with the injury history, they actually have a really good chance of drafting him like day 3 because of the injury history. So, that's a good one. I like that one, Ray. Thank you for bailing me out there, bud. That was very nice. My brain just froze.
John Dean said Kyle Pitts to Arizona. We are talking about linebackers, but I do want to say that Kyle Pitts probably would not be there for Arizona unless they draft.
That is not going to happen. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it past Cincinnati and Miami. It's not going to happen. So
if they trade up with Miami because Miami just wants more picks, if they do that, I'm gonna scream.
I think that
if he goes to the Cardinals.
I think the Dolphins basically traded down and then back up because they wanted to make sure they got either Pitts or one of the wide receivers. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. There is somebody they have their heart set on, and they're
Absolutely.
They still got a free first-round pick going down 3 spots.
I love it.
I hate it.
I love it.
I hate them.
Man, they heist us. So
no, you know what? You did it from the Eagles aspect. You did fine.
Yeah.
But what Miami did was they were clever in how they did it. They got where they wanted, and they picked up 2 extra picks to do in the process. Good for them.
Also, you can't be too mad as an Eagles fan. You got 3 number 1s coming next year. I mean, Wentz is going to hit that
I agree.
That multiplier or whatever that makes. Yeah, either he gets injured or you get a first-round pick, and if he doesn't if he gets injured, you get a second-round pick. Still pretty good, and then you have an extra 1 next year too.
That is the one thing about we worry about if I were the Eagles. Him getting hurt, he's going to play. They traded him. He's going to play as long as he stays healthy. You're going to get your first-round pick out of it. I believe that.
Yeah, and if y'all are smart, y'all just trade down from 12 again.
Yeah, we got to see how this college football season plays out too, because like looking ahead right now, and it's hard to kind of do that right now because again, 2020 was such a mixed bag as far as college football. The level of talent that we're getting into the next year's draft, I don't see it as good as this one. So that's why I'm kind of like about it, but we'll see. Again, we always kind of say this each year, and then when the season comes up, there's so many players that come out and emerges and play well, and we're like, oh yeah, this draft is really deep too. So we'll definitely say.
See, I think that's the good thing about having the multiple first and second round picks, because this way you get to choose who you want to get with them picks.
That is true. That's
true. It gives you an option if, like, say the Eagles need to get a quarterback this year in next year's draft, then they have the draft capital to move up to where they need to be.
That's the big thing is because you have to treat them like assets, right? I mean, these draft picks are legitimately assets because you're drafting your next employees pretty much. And so if you miss out on 1 first-round pick, well, you got 2 more to make it right,
Correct.
And you're still drafting of the top 32 players that are available, all like completely available. So no matter what, you're at least going to get 3 starters.
Unless the Eagles do something stupid, which Howie Roseman does, and draft like a punter in the first round or something like that. So
it's okay. We're gonna.
That's not going to happen, dude. Come on.
Third round.
Never know with this guy. Well, let's get to our next team. We're gonna go with the Chiefs. So, Ray, who you got for the Chiefs?
Chiefs. You know what, Jerome? This is one thing I hate about this thing, though, because right now I'm doing what Jack did. I'm trying to think who are the Chiefs linebackers and who could they fit. You know what? I'm going to go Jabril Cox. I think he's a versatile guy. He can play in a 3-4 and a 4-3. So I think I'm pretty sure. No, I know they play a 4-3. So I think as a second, again, a guy who could play all 3 linebacker spots really in a 4-3, and he could help you out. I think Jabril Cox with Kansas City would be a great spot. So,
wow, Johnny Dean,
coming with the heat,
coming at my neck a little bit talking about this draft. There simply isn't much playing time from this draft class. I highly disagree with that. I think that you got a lot of guys that did play. There are some players that opted out. Don't get me wrong, but you got a lot of good film from players that did play this year, and you got to remember it's 2018. You can't control what happened last year and put that into account too. You got to kind of look through it and hope that you get a good a draft. What you guys think about this though?
About it being this year's class being a weak class is incorrect.
I agree.
You have a lot of depth at wide receiver. You have a lot of depth at line, defensive and offensive line. You have a lot of depth at here's the thing. At linebacker, running back, you have 3 guys that I think are really good. And then you have a bunch of guys that will fit in your system down the road. I mean, I think it's a really deep class this year. I do for multiple positions. So again, I don't know what makes it. Is it a weak class because some guys opted out? Or there's a reason why they opted out, because they felt like their draft status was already completed. They didn't need to do anything like Jamar Chase. Was he going to do anything at LSU with all the players they lost last year that was going to help his draft status? So he's like, nah, why would I do that?
So you have an entire conference and no game time.
I mean, none of the FCS played, and I understand where he's coming from. I don't think it makes it weaker. I just think it makes it harder to scout because those guys are still talented. It's not like all of a sudden the tape that they put in 2018 and 2019 just disappears.
Correct. I mean, we've talked about Gregory Rizzo. Would have been nice if he'd have put out another good year of game film. Or
he wouldn't be a first rounder if he didn't.
Not even he wasn't going to have as good a year as he did in 2019.
There was no way. He had 15 sacks.
Correct. If he'd had another good year this year, of course that would help his draft status. But it doesn't change the fact that he's a good athlete and a good prospect for this year's draft.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go, Drum.
No, I was gonna add on to what Ray said earlier with the scouting part of it. Jack, actually, you said it. It just makes it harder to scout because you got to remember these kids been through. We just see them as they going out there playing football. You got to understand what they had to go through outside of football to get to football, all the testing they had to get through and all the the protocols they had to go through. So all that was very tiresome, and they still went out and performed. So you got to kind of put that into perspective. You got to also put into perspective as some guys didn't have their other players beside them. That were good too, that helped them out in a sense too. So a lot of these guys that were playing with people that was back that opted out, they was playing with a lot of guys that were supposed to be backups or now they're starters as well, and that hurts. That hurts you as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to overcompensate for something like that. If you really looked at the Michigan football team, their DBs really took a hit once Emory Thomas went out, and you really seen it because a lot of those guys were not prepared to be starters this year. So you kind of you got to kind of put that in perspective as well.
Yeah, I don't.
And this class is it's all pretty much developmental. There's a few who can start now, but majority of the class is very developmental.
Well, honestly, we talk about this all the time. You, as a draft person who has to study these players, you're always looking at what they're going to be 3, 5, 10 years from now. If they were a finished product right now, it'd be really easy to draft players.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You got to protect where they're going to be a couple of years from now,
Yeah.
Correct.
You
got to remember, almost every year, every player is developmental because you got to remember, all the first round picks that don't pan out each year, it's what is it? 60% of the first round picks don't pan out or don't work. So if you look at it in that sense, every year is developmental. Every player is very developmental. It's usually that first overall pick. And even then, they don't even pan out all the time. So it's you kind of it all depends on scheme, depends on the team, depends on developmental, depends on there's so many factors that go into a lot of these players, and that's why you got to really look into it. So I think having a year like this with the pandemic and everything, I don't think that hurts them at all. I just think it's just more of getting the right player, getting the right fit, and it just really doing a lot more scouting, especially that now they don't have private workouts as well. Jackie was about to say something.
Yeah, just to kind of put like a final nail in like the season coffin. A lot of teams couldn't do, like players could not do anything else. They would go to online classes and then go practice football. They couldn't see their family. They couldn't see their friends. They couldn't go do parties like you would do normal college stuff. You wouldn't
Correct.
go do hooligan things that you do in college. I did them. I know everyone does them. Like, I know Boston College opted out of playing in a bowl game because their coaches and their players just wanted to go see their families. Like, they just wanted to go do stuff that wasn't locked up in their dorm room, going to class, and then going to practice football. They just wanted to do something else. So, like, you can't, like, these players are human. You can't do that to them and just be like, well, why did they fall off towards the year? It's like, well, they were sad, and they weren't having fun anymore.
Yeah.
And, like, that happens in the NFL. Like, when teams start going or finishing 4-12, the players aren't having fun anymore. They're just out there for a paycheck. And so you got to cut the guy some slack, especially this year, just psychologically.
I think that is what people forget. People forget they're athletes. You see them on television, in college and the pros. But first and foremost, they're human beings, man. They're going to want to do human being type things. I mean, I get into disagreements every day about people about how this virus is going. And if we'd have been more stringent, 6 months ago, maybe it would have been done by now. But certain people, like, you can't stop people from living everyday lives. I mean, you just can't.
I agree. So I definitely agree. One comment he said is coming out of college, I knew full well that I was what lost playing time could do to a player. At the end, I ended up as a walk-on at Tampa and blew my knee out in practice. Yeah, man. That's definitely unfortunate, and it just sometimes it's just situations, man. You never know when injury's gonna happen. You never know. Just because, I do believe that staying in shape helps out, and staying focused and staying within that realm of football helps out. But like, you never know with injuries. Like, you could get an injury and you can be the person that worked out the whole time, So things happen, man. And there's some situations that happen, and some fortunate, some unfortunate, but just gotta grow from there. But let's move on real quick because we are running out of time. We're gonna go to our speed rounds real quick. So we're gonna go to Jack with the Colts. What's a good linebacker for the Colts?
None. Do they have to draft one? Can I go with no? I'll go Nick Bolton. I think they don't need a linebacker, Jerome. They don't. They got Darius Leonard. They drafted Okereke last year out of Stanford, or 2 years ago out of Stanford. Love that guy, by the way. But I would go Nick Bolton because he just pretty much replaces Bobby Okereke if he gets hurt.
They need the third linebacker, so that's why they're on the list.
Okay.
Ray, who you got for the Chargers?
You know what? Chargers. I'm going to go. See, the problem with me is I don't know what kind of. I'm not exactly sure what kind of defense they play in.
They are now in the 4-3, if I'm not mistaken.
So you know what? I want to go Zaven Collins for them because I think Collins could play a little bit inside. He can do some things for you as an edge rusher. I like again. We've talked about it. I love this linebacker class. I think it's deep. Like, there's a lot of different scheme fits. I mean, and everything comes down to scheme fit. We talk about like it's a weak class. It's never a weak class if you do your homework. Okay, never.
I agree. All right, Jack, you got my favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We need linebacker. We did just get Eric Wilson, which is, I think it was a good signing. At least, he's our best linebacker at this point, so he's a good signing. Jack, who do you think we should get for him?
I think if this guy's available in the second round, Baron Browning would be a fantastic player there.
Johnny, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Again, analytics-driven team with Howie Roseman. They like to draft. They don't value linebacker position very high, and that's like a classic thing with analytics-driven teams is they don't value linebackers. I don't get it either. But yeah, I would say Jabril Cox. That would actually be a perfect fit there, I think. Jabril.
Yes, I would love him on the Eagles.
I think he would be a pretty dangerous fit in that defense too.
Love from one of the Eagles. All right, Ray, you got the Giants.
You know what? I'm going to go Charles Snowden. And again, a long athletic type guy. He can do a lot of different things for you. And here's the thing, again, not to get back to Patty Fisher. I worry about guys that I can't use on special teams if they're going to be like lower round picks. That's all.
Gotcha. All right. Jack, you got the Jets.
The Jets. Ooh, this is a good one. I would actually go. I'm going to go Monty Rice here out of Georgia. I think he can actually play that defensive scheme very well. Robert Saleh, I think they're going to be translating that into a 3-4. If I'm not mistaken. I might be sounding very. I'm going to be sounding.
We played a 4-3 in San Francisco.
Okay, well, I was wrong. Thank you for correcting me. But yeah, I mean, I think he can play any inside linebacker position.
Yeah.
I know they have CJ Mosley there, but he hasn't really played much over the past 2 years since they've signed him. So I think he can be a pretty good plug and play guy there.
Yeah, first year he was injured. Second year he opted out. So we'll see with that. Ray, you got the Packers.
Packers. I'm going to go Nick Bolton from Missouri. Again, a guy that can play in a 4-3, can do a lot of different things for you. I know that the Packers are one of them teams that play a 3-4 and a 4-3. Nick Bolton's one of them guys that can play in either defense, I believe. So,
all right, and we're gonna wrap it up with Jack. You got the Panthers.
I really want to give him a Owusu Koramoah. I know that we said we weren't going to do that, but I think that would actually be a really, like, as a Saints fan, that would make me scared. Like, that's the way I like to kind of like give teams players. If my team has to play them and I'm nervous about it, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great spot. I just don't know. I think Carolina drafted so many defensive players last year. They're probably going to go offense in the first round. And if you don't take Kermo in the first round, you're probably not going to get him. But schematically, he would be perfect in their defense. You're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, they did draft all defense last year. They have poured a lot of money into offense this year. But I do agree with you. If they don't go offense this year, first round this year, I think that fan base is going to revolt.
Yeah, I think they need to add some offensive playmakers to that team. Their running back can't just carry the whole offense. He can't. So
they've tried the past couple of years, and he gets hurt every time.
It's a shame. Before this year, the guy never got hurt. It's a shame about it. But
yeah,
again, you need to add some playmakers to their offense. I love the Sam Darnold move for them. I think it was a great move. I'm a Sam Darnold fan. I think that they get to reset the clock now with a young, talented quarterback and a good running game. Add a playmaker outside here or there, maybe another tight end, and they're ready to go on offense too.
But Ray, with that being said, though, they just got, and we're gonna close it with this, but they just got the quarterback they need. So, what other offensive needs they need except for either offensive lineman or tight end? There's two other options. You're gonna get they're at 8. They either hope that Kyle Pitts fall or they get the linebacker. But I mean lineman. But if they don't like the lineman there, or they think, oh, this is a deep draft, they're gonna go defense. And I think it's a.
I think you may be right, but I could absolutely see if Pitts falls to them, which I don't think he will. But maybe they move up a couple of spots with somebody and try to get him. Mm-hmm. Maybe they go offensive line. Maybe Rashad Slater could probably help them out on the offensive line this year. I mean, they had the 8th pick. They have a lot of things to think about between now and then. And you're right. Like, it don't matter what I drafted last year. If I'm drafting, I'm taking the best player. But I think that like Jack said, if they don't add a player on offense, their fan base is probably not going to be happy about that. So,
what do you think, Jack?
One, I guess I'm on the outside. I guess I'm on the outside looking in on Sam here. I mean, it's weird for the situation. One, because you have to redevelop him and like get his mindset back to like, I was the 3rd overall pick, right? Mm-hmm. 2, they only have him under contract for 2 more years. They still have to pay Teddy this year.
Yeah.
And so if Sam's the guy, then you have to pay him a ton of money. And then you're going to have to pay a lot of other players a lot of money. So it's weird that way. And I don't know, man. The Panthers are in such a weird spot because They gave Matt Rule like a 7-year contract or something ridiculous like that, and now they're trying to win now. And it's like this team needed to be rebuilt forever, and like they finally bit the bullet and got rid of Cam, got rid of all the defensive guys, and just let it happen, right? So it's weird. However, I do agree with, like, just for kind of countering my point earlier about the fan base, if they win, it won't matter, right? The fan base is going to forget about who they drafted 8th overall if they start winning games. So if they think Koromoa or whoever is the best player to draft, you draft the best player, because hopefully they aren't drafting at 8th again.
I agree.
Well, the good thing about Carolina is their quarterback does not make a lot of money.
Exactly.
He's not making I think he's making like maybe $14 million this year or some crazy stupid number like that for a starting quarterback. That's not a lot. And Sam Darnold's still coming off of a rookie contract, so he's not making a ton of money. And you let it play out this year, and then you recommit. I'm a Sam Darnold fan. I'm not a good person to ask about it, because once I put my stamp on a guy, I do always think that it does matter what team you go to, for sure, what guy coaches you. And we already know Adam Gase is an idiot. So.
Yeah.
I know it's coming. I know his name is coming up.
Yeah. So just a random thing for Teddy. He's guaranteed $20 million this year. And
Really?
they already picked up Sam Darnold's 5th-year option for the year after, which is $19.5 million.
Okay.
So they've already guaranteed about $40 million to 2 guys who might be the answer.
And Dallas just gave
don't start for this year, though. It goes to next year.
right. And Dallas
They had to submit it this year, but it don't start to next year.
Dallas just gave one guy $40 million coming off a major injury.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's such a weird. I mean, okay, I have a very good standard team building philosophy, and I just don't understand why you would have 2 quarterbacks that you have to try to. I mean, we know what Teddy is. We don't know what Sam is right now. So it's like you have average, and then you're like maybe above average.
I'm a bigger Darnold fan than you are, Jack.
Yeah,
I like Teddy Bridgewater, but if you watch him play last year, man, he was not very good. So
no, he's average. He is literally the epitome. I would say, he's the epitome of average quarterback in today's game, and I'm cool with that. Yeah, I mean, my team won 5 games with that man, and I owe him a lot of respect.
Because you know, when you're a Saints fan, you have one of the best play callers in the league.
Exactly.
So he'll take that and build on it week to week. And you know what? It's not a bad thing sitting there learning from Drew Brees. It's not a bad thing. So,
no, it's not.
Right.
But that would do it for today, guys. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Next week, we'll be talking about quarterbacks. Go ahead, Ray.
Before we get off, I have something I want to do. I probably should have cleared this with you. I have some Jets gear that somebody gave me brand new for Christmas. I mean, they gave me Jets gear. I think they got confused when I gave one of their sons a
Ray, I think that was disrespect, because knowing that you're a Miami fan, it was like
that's disrespect, bro.
I gave
disrespect.
I gave a young guy where I work at a Curtis Martin jersey, a Jets jersey, because he was a Jets fan. And I think they took it as that meant I was a Jets fan. But I was just getting away old clothes. Here's what I want to do. I want to say, if there's any Jets fans out there, I don't know that, but if you hear from any Jets fans, if they can predict the top 5 players the Jets will draft, they get my brand new gear that I've never touched.
Ooh. Okay, giveaway time.
Yeah. So you Jets fans out there, I know Ron would love to hear that. If you Jets fans hear this right now, Ray is giving away Jets gear for top 5 picks.
Right. They have the 2nd pick, the 23rd pick, the 34th pick, the 66th pick, and the 86th pick. Whoever is the most accurate out of them 5 picks, it's still in the package. I've never even opened it. And all it is a slide and some face cards, like 3 or 4 face cards. But it's free and it's brand new. It's still in the pack. And I like giving things away to people because that's what kind of guy I am.
That is so awesome that you're going to do something like that for them. And with that being said, I'm going to actually type it in right now.
Ray, when you said that you were they had to predict the first 5 picks, I thought they had to get them like all right.
No,
And
whoever's the close.
I was going to say that's very hard,
It's
right?
like
I know, I was like-
if somebody goes 2 out of 5 and they're the only one that got 2 right, then anyway, maybe somebody's only picks the first because we all know who the first pick. We think we know who the first pick is going to be.
We know who the first pick is.
Right. So it may be just one guy. Now here's the problem: if say everybody picks the first guy, we all kind of have a feeling who we think that's going to be, and then the other guys are all wrong, we'll go with the position.
Definitely,
I like that. I like that.
Okay, you know what I mean? Like this way, if you say they're going to take a linebacker in the second round, if they don't take the linebacker that you predicted, but they take a linebacker, I'll go with that guy.
I like that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, let's do this. I just put the our Inside the Hatches email, so that's it right there. It's itasupport@insidethehashes.com. Email us your predictions. I'll send it out to Ray. He'll look at them. He'll let you guys know who's going to get that, and then we'll set up for you to get that free Jets gear, which was never touched. This is coming from Miami fans, so you guys got to be happy about this.
I'm surprised you didn't burn it.
That's how you know. No, that's how you know it wasn't touched.
There you go. So, guys, thank y'all so much for checking us out. We appreciate everybody that checked in. Thank you, Johnny, for being in here and checking us out. Please make sure that you check us out on all our social media, InsideTheHatches.com, where we find all our content on there, gaming, podcasts, fantasy football, our Aired Out podcast, which have the NFL guys. They're doing a great job. Please check out all that stuff on InsideTheHatches.com. Also, check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you find our podcast. Go to search Inside the Hatches. You can find all our player interviews on there. We interviewed a lot of these players that we talked about tonight and a lot other. So please go check that out. We just released another Michigan guy. I'm not gonna say who now. So just so y'all can go check it out. So go check that out. InsideTheHatches.com. Or Inside the Hatches, rather, on all your podcasts. And also check us out on our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's Inside the Hatches, Inside Hatches on Twitter. And also check us out on our YouTube channel. So if you're not watching us on the YouTube channel now, you can always watch us on our YouTube channel at any time that we go live. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know every time we go live for our podcast. We have 3 podcasts that we do on Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, and Thursday nights. So always check that out. I know we have a different time tonight, but definitely go check that out. Make sure you subscribe, share it with your friends, and do all that great stuff to help us and support us. So check all that out especially if you like what we're doing here, guys. So we really do appreciate that. Especially check out that any of your Jets fans, definitely email us with your list of drafted players that you predicting, and we'll give us some free stuff. So once again, thank you guys for getting on. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got my guy Ray Roberts and a special guest today, Jack Rowe. Thank you guys so much for coming out and checking us out on this Friday night. We'll see you again next week. Peace.